Hi there. Today I am making a guitar case out of this stuff. This is called Corecell M. I've been using it in the past to build wakeboards and wake skates. These are some leftover pieces, and it's a really nice material. It's extremely tough and lightweight and rigid and very easy to work with. So I'm going to cutting up some pieces, gluing them together, and see if we can make a nice custom fitted guitar case out of this. Okay, so this is the plan. Just gonna have a bit of space around for the sides, and I've got this high density foam, the stuff I'm going to put around and underneath to support the guitar, and then put it together. Let's see how this turns out. So this here is a very old table saw. It's got absolutely zero safeties on it, so I haven't taken any video of me using it because I need to keep my attention on what I'm doing so I don't lose fingers. Anyway, so I've cut all the bits and pieces. I now have essentially all the pieces for the case. Time to start assembling. Now, for bonding, in the past I used to have industrial epoxy, which I don't have anymore, and I'm not going to try and get that today. So I went to Builders and got these things. It's called Sikabond 115 Strong Fix. It's a high strength adhesive for indoor inside applications and can replace nails and screws in many cases. So we'll see how it performs. It says here, for bonding, apply the adhesive on the back of the object to be bonded. For obvious reasons, not on the front. And then press the bonded components firmly together. Heavy items may need to be bonded or temporarily fixed for 48 hours. Alright, so we'll see how this performs. I've got some test cases over here, these guys. Now, because it's pretty much a prepared surface, I don't really need to do any particular cleaning or surface preparation, apart from just giving a quick brush to remove any loose particulate matter and dust. And then we're going to try and bond it and see how it performs, whether it melts the foam, whether it provides a bond as good as nails or screws, before we do it on the actual big pieces. Alright, let's have a go. Okay, slight problem. Just as I started using this stuff, I noticed the best before date is 01/23, so this stuff has actually expired. So I'm going to take it back to Builders and let them deal with this. Right, so I am back. This time I have a non-expired version of the same stuff. So let's see how it works. Okay, so first test piece is done, at least in terms of the glue. The other piece I want to check is the paint. So I have bought some of this rubberizing paint. Called urethane bucky liner. So I was thinking of putting this on the outside. It's got an attractive non-slip finish, if you can believe that. So yeah, I'll put some of this stuff onto the test piece as well and see how well it takes. So I reckon when I do put this on in real life, it's going to be quite a lot I'm going to be putting on stage, and I'm going to have to let it even out itself and see if it fills up the gaps. I might have to do 2 or 3 coats, but I suppose we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. For now, we are done for the day. Let the stuff cure overnight and then we get going tomorrow. Yeah. Good morning. It is now the next day. Probably has been about 18 hours, not 24. But time to see if this glue is going to perform. Seems to be quite dry. Now let's see if it breaks. And it breaks. That's not nice. That's not really a good bond, is it? Okay. We might have to go with epoxy then. Not this stuff. Okay. That's a bit of a waste. The rubberizing seems to be okay, so I think I might carry on with that. I'm kind of curious whether we can actually use it as a glue. I wonder. It's a polyurethane that bonds to the substrate it's supposed to bond to. But I don't think that is its purpose. So back to the drawing board on the glue side, I think. Alright, so I've now gone and purchased this thing called Corecell AP. It's an all-purpose epoxy. So we'll see if this performs better than the previous try. Alright. Alright, so I think that looks slightly better. And now to leave it for at least 5 hours, so probably tomorrow we'll come back and have a look at this again. Okay, so this is now another day later and testing the epoxy to see if it's strong enough or not. So let's see. Okay, that feels good. That feels very good. Wow, look at that, is significantly stronger. I'm going to see if I can actually break this, but I can't. That is really strong. Okay. It actually broke the foam. So pieces of foam came off with the epoxy, and that is perfect. This means that the bond is stronger than the material, so it's fine. This is a very good candidate then for building the box. Alright, we have a glue, we have material, now we can start building. So I finished with the gluing. The basic box is now more or less built. Now it's going to be finishing up the edges, putting on hinges and catches and things like that, putting foam on the inside, cutting that out, painting the whole thing. Next steps. The edging has been done on the table saw. The corners have been done with the router, but these little edges here are too short for the router to do properly, so I've just used a circular sander attachment on my drill, well, on my grinder, to catch the last corners. I will in any case assemble the box and then get these with a hand sander block to finish it up. But yeah, pretty much done with the outside. We can assemble and then start with the inside. Hi again, it's another day down the line and I've finished the basic box. So now it's got catches, it's got hinges and just a bit of weather stripping to seal it, locate it. Alright, next steps, just finish off the box and then we start on the inside. Time to apply some of this bucky liner. It's a polyurethane rubbery coating. Let's see how that works. So I finished with the painting, or rather the rubber coating. I think it turned out pretty good. This is a nice solid rubber finish. Put on some of the catches and the hinges and things. Yeah. Cut out some high density foam, which is now inside the well, I've placed it inside the case, but they haven't been glued down yet. So I'll be cutting this out to make shapes for the guitar to be quite snug and well located. But so far so good. I think this is turning out to be quite a useful exercise. Yeah. Next step, cutting out the templates and sticking them into the box. Alright, so we have the foam cutting completed. There's a nice space for the guitar. There's some additional pockets for some bits and pieces. So I must admit the foam cutting took quite a bit of time. More time than I expected, but it's done now. So next step is going to be to take some cloth and line the foam, stick it down, and then I think I'll be finished. So just one small thing. Some of these holes I did with a normal router bit. These holes are too deep for my bit, but I figured out you can actually use a normal wood bit, stick this in the router, and have quite a nice deep routing cut. I'm not sure if it'll work on anything else than foam, but certainly in this case saved me a couple $100 to buy an extra long routing bit. Alright, on to the cloth part of the project, and then we should be done. Well, I have finally finished the guitar box. It's looking pretty decent. It's taken quite a bit longer than expected. The foam work and the fabric lining took a fair amount of time. I used 2 bottles of these this contact adhesive, so yeah, certainly not inside my wheelhouse, the foam cutting and the fabric lining. Certainly a skill that you need to develop. Boxes I can build, but this fabric and foam work, yeah, you know, definitely underestimated the amount of effort required for that. But anyway, here's the final result. Got my little headless guitar stuck in there. Straps, audio interface, bracket, cables, foot switches. So this now is my travel solution, and I haven't hooked up the strap. Still gets on there, but yeah, turned out to be quite successful at the end of the day. Don't think I'll do this again, but yeah, I think it's a success.